First, if infections reach that level, 100,000 per day, what does the Prime Minister expect the number of hospitalisations, deaths and the number of people with long COVID will be in that eventuality?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there are a number of projections and they're available from the SPI-M graphs, but it's certainly true, Mr. Speaker, that we are seeing a wave of cases because of the Delta variant. But scientists are also absolutely clear that we have severed the link between infection and serious disease and death. And currently there are only a 30th of the deaths that we were seeing at an equivalent position in previous waves of this pandemic. And that has been made possible thanks to the vaccine rollout, the fastest of any European country. And I think what people would like to hear from the party opposite, because I wasn't quite clear from that opening question, is whether or not they support the progress that this country is intending to make on July the 19th or not, Mr. Speaker. He says it's reckless to go ahead. Does that mean he's opposing it?
Is the Prime Minister really comfortable with a plan that means 100,000 people catching this virus every day and everything that entails?
Mr. Speaker, I really think we need to hear from what the Honourable Gentleman what he actually supports. We will continue with a balanced and reasonable approach, and I've given the reasons. This country has rolled out the fastest vaccination programme anywhere in Europe. The vaccines provide more than 90% protection against hospitalisation, both of them, Mr. Speaker. By the 19th of July, we will have vaccinated every adult will have been offered one vaccination. Everybody over 40, Mr. Speaker, will have been offered two vaccinations. That is an extraordinary achievement. That's allowing us to go ahead. Now, last week, Mr. Speaker, or earlier this week, he seemed to support opening up, getting rid of the 1 metre rule. He seemed to support getting back into nightclubs and getting back into pubs without masks, Mr. Speaker. But if he doesn't support it, perhaps he could clear it up now. Is it reckless or not, Mr. Speaker?
Can the Prime Minister tell us how many people does he expect will be asked to isolate if infection rates continue to rise at this rate?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank everybody who self-isolates. They're doing the right thing. They're a vital part of this country's protection against the disease. And what we will be doing is moving away from self-isolation towards testing in the course of the next few weeks. And that is the prudent approach, because we will have, Mr. Speaker, vaccinated even more people. But what he can't explain, well, he can't have it both ways. He says it's reckless. It's reckless to open up, Mr. Speaker, and yet he attacks self-isolation, Mr. Speaker, which is one of the key protections that this country has. And let me ask him again. On Monday, he seemed to say he was in favour. He seemed to say he was in favour of opening up on July the 19th. Now he's saying it's reckless. Which is it, Mr. Speaker?
What is the Prime Minister going to do to stop people deleting the NHS track because they can see precisely what he can't see, which is millions of them are going to be pinged this summer to self-isolate?
Mr. Speaker, of course we're going to continue with the programme of self-isolation for long as that is necessary. I thank all those who are doing it. But of course what we're also doing is moving to a system of testing rather than self-isolation, and we can do that because of the massive rollout of the vaccine programme. And what I'm still not, and I think about the fourth or fifth time, Mr. Speaker, it's still not clear whether he's actually in favour of this country moving forward to step 4 on the basis of the massive rollout of vaccine. And yes, of course, Mr. Speaker, this is unlike the law, where you can attack from lots of different positions at once. To oppose, you must have a credible and clear alternative. I simply do not hear that. Is he in favour of us moving forward, yes or no? It's completely impossible to tell.
Actions like mandatory face masks on public transport. Now, we know that will protect people, reduce the speed of the virus and the spread of the virus, and it won't harm the economy. It's common sense. Why can't the Prime Minister see that?
Prime Minister.
Of course, Mr. Speaker, we can see that it's common sense for people in confined spaces to wear a face mask out of respect and courtesy to others, such as on the tube. But what we're doing, Mr. Speaker, is cautiously, prudently moving from legal diktat to allowing people to take personal responsibility for their actions. And that is the right way forward, Mr. Speaker. And I must say that if really that is the only difference between us, if he supports absolutely everything else, so opening pubs, opening nightclubs, getting rid of the 1 metre rule, getting people back to work, and it's all about whether the difference between making face masks mandatory or advisory on the tube. If that is the only difference between us, Mr. Speaker, then that is good news. But I'd like to hear him clarify that.
Isn't it the case that once again, instead of a careful, controlled approach, we're heading for a summer of chaos and confusion?
Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker, is the answer to that. These are difficult decisions. They need to be taken in a balanced way, and that's what we're doing. And throughout the pandemic, to do all these things, frankly, Mr. Speaker, takes a great deal of drive and it takes a great deal of leadership to get things done. And if we'd followed his advice, Mr. Speaker, we would still be in the European Medicines Agency, and we would never have rolled out the vaccines as fast. If we'd followed his advice, Mr. Speaker, we would never have got schools open again with all the damage to kids' education. And frankly, Mr. Speaker, if we listened to him, we would not now be proceeding cautiously, pragmatically, sensibly to reopen our society and our economy and give people back the chance to enjoy the freedoms they love. We're getting on with taking the tough decisions to take this country forward, Mr. Speaker. We vaccinate, they vacillate, we inoculate, Mr. Speaker, while they're invertebrate.